Welcome back to the Get Off the Treadmill podcast for small business owners and entrepreneurs, where we show you how to build a successful business and to have a life too. We're going to dive into another topic that helps us make more money in less time and to get off the treadmill so we can experience a life of significance. And now, your host and the author of the #1 best-selling business book, Making Money is Killing Your Business, Chuck Blakeman.
Hi, and welcome back to the Get Off the Treadmill podcast for business owners and independent agents. Today, we're going to talk about the question, why do we sell to strangers? What if we didn't need to? I'll start with this. The closer you get to a hug, the more likely you are to sell something. We've all been led astray by the still prevalent industrial age factory system approach to sales. It was a bad idea then, and it's a worse idea now, but sadly, we're still using the same approaches today. The biggest problem in sales happens not when we're with a customer, but long before we've ever met them. But we've been taught we need to control the conversation, be nice, respond to objections, read body language, find pain points, and learn the art of the close. But the biggest problem in sales for everyone is that we either don't have the right people to talk to, or more often, anyone to talk to. So what do? We interrupt the lives of strangers and stab them with our business cards in hopes they might just respond and buy our stuff. There's a better way. What if we had a steady stream of potential clients without ever talking to another stranger? I am not a natural-born salesperson. I was never the guy who could sell bathing suits at a ski resort. I've succeeded in my 13 businesses not because I was great at making sales, but because I learned how to develop a steady stream of potential clients. I don't mean a steady stream of strangers, but a steady stream of people who already know and like me, even if they have never met me, which happens often. How do we get to that place where people we are meeting for the first time already know and like us? If we solve this one obstacle and create that steady stream of potential clients who already like us before meeting us, we've won the whole game. We need to learn how to get people to like us before we even meet them. And you can. We all can. It's actually not that hard. We'll show you how on just about every show we have in this podcast. But to get there, we have to deal with our compulsion to transact at people instead of relating with them. And to do that, we might need a mindset shift from what we've been taught about how to do sales, for at least the past 175 years, which is to hunt strangers and then transact at them. We actually need the pre-industrial age mindset that worked much better 250 years ago and will work much better today. That mindset is focused on building relationships in unique ways and then providing our products and services to people we already know. This works for everything from brick and mortar to online stores. Business development should be more like talking with your neighbor at a barbecue, not a stranger across the desk. It should be a relational experience, not a transactional one. We're all better off when we move from selling to bringing awareness, from being the persuader to being the engager who takes people as far as they want to go and then meets their needs, not our needs. So how should we build relationships with people we don't know? Well, here's how not to do it. Let's start with that. Pat walks into the bar, sees a woman by herself, walks up and introduces himself and asks her name. My name's Jenna, she says. Pat responds, great, Jenna, will you marry me? And by the way, if Jenna says yes, they deserve each other. Just like everywhere in life, relationships matter more than anything else in business, and cultivating them is the most important skill you will learn in order to gain new clients or customers and build a successful, vibrant, meaningful business. And you will get there faster with proven tools to help you, not just theories and principles. Just about everything we've been taught in sales and frankly in business for the past 175 years since the factory system started has supplanted thousands of years of doing business relationally with friends. Now we're taught to be transactional with strangers, which is counterproductive to making a sale. Great business development people intuitively ignore the aggressive, in-your-face techniques they've been taught. So we need to understand the power of relationships better. I worked as a captive employee twice, and during one of those experiences, the sales director flew into Denver from out of town to take me to lunch. She informed me that other members of the sales team were not happy because I was regularly out of the office, sometimes for multiple hours and sometimes multiple times per week. And I never made the requisite 20 cold calls a week. In fact, I never made any, and I never have, and I never will. She wanted me to get on the bandwagon, get in line and start working the phones like everybody else. Fortunately, for once, I was prepared. Donna, I'm not using her real name, What result do you want from me? Based on the quizzical look in her face, the question was unexpected, so I elaborated. Donna, at the end of the year, what measure of success could I achieve that would make you and the company thrilled to have me working here? She knew where I was going. Chuck, I understand you're the leading salesperson in the company, and we appreciate that, but I need you to follow the process. Okay, well, I responded, Donna, I think it's more important to remind you that our division has $13 million in sales, and I generated $7 million of that. The other 6 salespeople have all done $1 million in sales this year following the company's process. I realize that she cut in, but they're all doing 20 plus cold calls a week. You don't make any. Imagine where you could be if you made cold calls too. Yeah, it was a softball. So I took a swing. Donna, I'd be right where they are, generating $1 million a year in sales instead of $7 million. I asked her, is that the result you want at the end of the year, or would you like me to train them to do what I do instead? Well, it's the rare sales director who would say yes to that, and she didn't either. It's understandable because it's much easier to demonstrate your worth as a sales manager when you can turn in weekly reports showing you motivated 7 salespeople to make a total of 280 cold calls to potential clients. That's really flashy and easily perceived as productivity. And it's all very easily tied to the manager's pressure on them. It's a lot murkier to turn in a report that says, well, Chuck played golf with 2 people in the middle of the day this week and had lunch with 2 or 3 others, so he made 4 or 5 contacts. Except he wasn't even with potential customers. He was with friends he already knows really well, who probably won't ever buy anything from us. I'm not sure he's cut out for sales. I just can't make him do salesy stuff. Despite having never made a cold call, I was the leading salesperson at 2 companies. In the second one, I wasn't even in sales. I was the marketing VP. When you take the time to carefully and respectfully build relationships and stay in touch, someone just might remember you helped them before and call you. You'll likely have a steady stream of potential clients without talking to strangers, and you can marry someone you know well instead of a stranger at a bar. Yeah, life's principles work everywhere, or they don't work at all. There's an old axiom that's not true. Friends don't let friends sell to friends. Well, I'm going to disagree with that. Jason owns his own company and functions as the primary salesperson. That's a good role for owners in their early stage companies. Jason shared with me that he was told by everyone from his mother to multiple sales managers, don't sell to your friends. When he finally figured out that all the people who already knew him were his greatest potential opportunity and got over the head trash that friendship and business just don't mix, everything changed. His closing rate skyrocketed, and now he spends a lot less time in sales and enjoys his business a lot more. John Heenan, my dear friend in Belfast, Ireland, who built a very successful 3PL fulfillment company and also runs our 3 to 5 clubs for business owners in Ireland, has a simple business principle. I love it. He says, when I meet with a potential client, I ask myself, would I want to take this person home to dinner with my family? That's a great question. If the answer is no, I'm not looking to do business with them. What a great, simple litmus test for the importance of prioritizing relationships over transactions, both in business and in life. So why are we more comfortable selling to strangers? Amber is in our fast track business development course as I'm doing this podcast. During her check-in with the group, she shared that she had connected with an existing client who had committed to a significant increase in revenue spend with her. She wasn't sure that counted as sales. She said, all I did was talk to someone I already know and ask them, how can I serve them? It just feels a little bit like cheating because I didn't go find a new client. I just talked very intentionally with someone I already knew. My desire for this podcast is that we all learn that it's not cheating. In fact, it's the best sales strategy you can employ to talk to people you already know. And it will lead to bringing on clients you didn't know too. People weren't always uncomfortable selling to friends. In fact, for the thousands of years that people have bought and sold things, they did so almost exclusively with people they knew as both neighbors and customers. The notion of buying from strangers would have been greeted with suspicion. How do I know I can trust you? Who can vouch for you? Why haven't any of my friends bought from you yet? Will you be around if something goes wrong? But the factory system changed all that. As factories began to manufacture more products than anybody needed, and then products we didn't even know we needed, pestering people aggressively on sidewalks and in the town square became a normal way of dumping the excess production. Door-to-door intrusion, I mean sales, was very effective early on as well. In 1886, David McConnell started peddling his Avon perfumes door to door. And in 1910, the U.S. Direct Selling Association was formed, and your front door was never the same again. In the heyday of invading people's privacy in the 1950s and 60s, tens of thousands of people made a living selling door to door. Most sources say it's a tenth of that today, and yet 1/3 of today's door bangers still work for giant corporations. About 60% of them quit within a year, every year, because aggressive sales techniques don't work anymore, if they ever really did. When salesy types wore out their welcome on your front doormat, they discovered the phone. No more walking neighborhoods, no more brooms in the face, and much more efficient. And now we all know how much we love getting phone calls from strangers trying to sell us some life-changing product. One guy keeps calling me a Mr. Scam Likely. The dude is relentless. Now we found a myriad of new ways to annoy strangers with our goods beyond the phone. A lot of it currently swirling around the internet. Seth Godin, author of Permission Marketing, made a justifiably big splash in the late 1990s by reintroducing a long-lost idea when he suggested we could make a lot more money if we stopped intruding on people's lives and only talked to them when we already had their permission. What a concept. Duh, right? And sadly, not duh. This is not new. The shoe cobblers from 1725 would be really proud of Seth Godin, and we're all glad people like him have tried to right the sales ship. But I think it's still listing badly, and salespeople are still aggressively hunting down strangers and stabbing them with business cards. This is all very solvable. The first step is to change our mindset, to believe with conviction that being relational instead of transactional is the right approach. Being relational means putting the best interests of your customer above your own, even if what you find out is that they need the services of someone else, not you. Are you willing to send someone to another company to get what they truly need, even if they are willing to buy something from you that they don't yet know wouldn't be the best for them? That's being relational. Second, we need to believe that we don't need to chase strangers in order to increase sales. I regularly ask people to start by putting together a list of everyone they know. I don't mean just people in your business database. I mean everybody you know. Why? Because one of the best, least used strategies in business is the 3rd degree of separation principle. We've all heard about the idea of 6 degrees of separation, that we are only separated from everybody on earth by a string of 6 connected relationships. In business development, most of us are focused solely on the 1st degree, on the person right in front of us and whether they will buy or not. When we do that, we run out of people to talk to really quickly. And the only way to find more is to hunt down strangers. The 2nd and 3rd degree relationships is where you can find more people to talk to without ever approaching another stranger. Instead of hunting strangers, the first thing we need to do is ask others who they might know who could benefit from an experience with us. This is the 2nd degree of separation, and it's commonly referred to as asking for a referral. Most salespeople know about this, but my experience is that few rarely ever do it. Instead, they go bang on another physical or digital door. In our last podcast, we talked about how you can ask for referrals from people you already know. Check out that podcast for a full treatment on how to pursue 2nd degree relationships. I think you'll find a very different and refreshing approach to what it means to ask for a referral. The 3rd degree of separation is where the gold is, and most people almost never go there. And this can involve people who will never buy a thing from you and might just be your neighbor. I believe it should be a regular question we ask of people we know. So when we ask them if they know someone who might benefit from our products or services, that's the 2nd degree question. We're asking for a referral. And many times they will say no. This is where the 3rd degree question should come in. I understand you don't know someone who might benefit from our products or services, but do you know one person who might know someone who could benefit? Or do you know one person who might know a lot of people who could benefit? I'll give you an example of the 3rd degree question being asked really well. I had an estate attorney ask me the 2nd degree question. Chuck, do you know someone who could benefit from the services of a real estate attorney? I thought about it and had to say I didn't. Then he asked me the 3rd degree of separation question. Okay, but do you know one other person who might know someone who could benefit from my services? And when he asked that, the light bulb went on. I said, yeah, in fact, I know a really great wealth manager who focuses on helping people in retirement. He has hundreds of clients who might benefit from working with you. These guys connected, and instead of trying to find each one of the strangers one at a time that was in that guy's database, the wealth manager began to introduce them as warmed up introduction. No more hunting strangers. Neither one of these guys ever bought anything from the other. They just swapped clients for years to come. There are dozens of ways to build and deepen relationships with people we already know so we can move away from stabbing strangers with our business cards. In future podcasts, we'll continue to unpack more of these so you end up with a set of tools and resources to become more relational and less transactional. In this podcast, I just wanted to lay the foundation for why we should do that and give you just one tip to move more in that direction. I look forward to seeing you in future podcasts to continue to develop the idea of being relational in every aspect of business. Remember, the closer you get to a hug, the more likely you are to sell something. I think we'll see our successful transactions increase as we do. I'll see you there.
That wraps up another episode of the Get Off the Treadmill podcast. If you found this podcast helpful, please subscribe and hit the like button to ensure you are receiving the latest tools you need to grow your business and to get off the treadmill. If you want more information on the 3 to 5 Club, the Crankset Group, or to book Chuck as a business advisor, speaker, or workshop leader, you can contact us at grow@cranksetgroup.com. Until next time, have a great week.